So let's get into managing the project from beginning to end. There is an order that you would want to undertake in order to be able to not double up on work or waste money or waste time. And that order carries some value if you can execute it effectively. What is that order and where do we want to start? Before we do though, it's probably wise to talk about some of the complexities legally about doing renovations. In every state of Australia, there are different laws centred around who does what on a building. There are builders, project managers, there's trades, DIY, you can be an owner builder, and each of them carry their own ramifications legally. Can I encourage you, before you get started on any project or renovation, you go and see a solicitor about the ramifications of the decisions you're about to make on the project. So let's get into the sequence of events that you might want to undertake to execute your renovation effectively. Adam, tell me about how you would plan the execution of a renovation from beginning to end.
That's a good one. There's a couple of types in regards to that. There's one where you can just do a real quick flip. It's just cosmetic really. So it's just demo, which is not really a demo. It's more cleaning up and then just painting. But when you get into the bigger renovations, then it goes into architects going into demolition, framework, which is your rough-ins, pre-wires. Then it goes into your plasterworks, your joinery, waterproofing, tiling, and the process goes on. So I write myself a big process, which you can actually get, and then follow those steps.
So again, Nady, for you, when you're looking to take on a renovation, there is in your mind already, with the experience you've got, you know the answer. There is a process that you adopt. You think of some things first and you do some things later. Can you give me an insight into how that process works in your mind?
So normally when I buy a project during settlement, I have access to the house, maybe 3 times to go do measurements and things. So I would measure out the kitchen, bathroom if I need to do tiling or any joinery. And by the time settlement comes, I've actually bought all the things that I need and they're sitting in there. So first day, as soon as we get the keys, we are ready to demolish and from the get-go, get the project off the ground.
Very efficient.
It is.
Very efficient.
And then what? Once you're through the door, where do you start?
Mostly like pulling out carpet, demolition, get the skip in, tidy up, and then start doing the garden as well, because that takes a bit of time to come up.
So again, the garden. Love working on the garden. There's a process that says for every $1 you spend, you want to get 3 back. But you can get 1 in 4 for every $1 spent on the outside, you get 4 back. So don't ever underestimate the value of doing dollars in the garden. So outside of the front yard, which is what Nady suggested she'd work on, you get into the house. What are some of the things, the sequence of events you would do?
One of the things which I think we might have just, we're going into the demo, but before that, it's also make safe. Go back into the property, make safe. You know, we've got to get the site cleaned up and safe before we go too far. That gives the trades and everyone else working there a place of confidence, and it sets the standard.
Yeah, it's said that if you put an axe through live power wires, that's not going to serve you well.
No, but I think to that point, really what he's talking about is like, you know, your trades coming in, seeing a site that is clean, safe, gives them a lot of pride in hey, you know, I'm part of this project where the developer or the project manager knows what he's doing.
Now let's get down and dirty. I want you to cast your mind back to your first projects. Yeah. And I want you to think about all of those things that you said you do now. Is that how your first project ran, Adam?
I was so lucky, Brendan, because I did it right from day one. I never made a mistake.
Never made a mistake,
And I
so
just
that's
keep
great.
skipping down that gold line. No, very far from the truth. And even my bad experiences were my best experiences because you learn from that.
Yeah,
And
right.
but back in the start, you do your best. So you do your best that you know how to at the time. I love that statement. Why is that? Is because you're going to always grow, you're always going to learn. And looking back at it, I went through and had years of experience in the industry already. And then coming into it, I did my first project thinking, I got this, only to understand the depth of, I had the construction side of things organised, but then it came into the costings, quoting, and because I rushed it, I missed out on all the air conditioners and everything. And I've gone, oh my gosh. So budget, where's my profit? So it's an open sword.
It is different when it's live, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, you can do a theoretical, but until you're on the ground, you never really know.
It's a learning process.
Nady, you're just like Adam, your first was perfect, I'm sure.
No, far from it. Looking back, so I did the traditional thing, get 3 to 5 quotes and, you know, pick kind of mid-range and go with that. But a lot of the time I found that the tradies led me. They'll be like, oh, we should do this, this, this. And I go, oh, okay, how much? Okay, let's do that because you're the expert. But now I'm the one calling the shots. So I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to cover that up or we'll focus on somewhere else. And I think that's quite important because otherwise you're doing all these little things that doesn't actually add to the project in the end.
Yeah, and that's so important what Nady is saying. It's essentially, yep, you are ultimately the person that is most responsible for this project. Yes, you got your trades and all that who should know what they're doing for their segment of the project, but it really helps as the project manager to know a little bit enough about everything to make sure that they all work together to achieve your goal and your targets.
Yeah, the worst case scenario is having an electrician put a hole in a wall that you were thinking of tiling over.
That's right.
Or someone cutting through something that has just been done by another tradie. So again, order and sequence.
Or get to the very end and you go, this looks fantastic. I'm going to put a downlight over that sculpture. And then you've got to go and run wires and cut. It's finished. So you're just going through and cost them. Where do you stop?
So and it took me a while to get there as well. And I remember a lot of the time, if my husband's on site, all the tradies go to him. It clicked to me probably 3 years ago. We were renovating our house. And everybody's asking my husband, like, oh, what do we do with this? Where does this go? And they like, go ask Nady. And the coin dropped and everybody went, oh, okay. So who's running the show here?
Wonderful. All right, again, so first project. What are some of the things that you did that just didn't play out right?
I spent way too much money on doing pretty things like, just turning a double door into these stacker doors. Cost a fortune. It didn't return the money. I could have gone with a smaller patio, but I did like the big extended one. So kind of trying to create the house that I want rather than what suits the market.
In your first project, is there anything that you actually ignored or didn't contemplate outside of the cooling that you missed?
Cooling systems. Did I miss anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I underestimated time, and that came from experience and the planning. If you had the planning and scheduling and communication with the trades, took longer than I anticipated. So that was probably one of the biggest things that I missed.
So what we've got then, years down, you've done your first, it's come and gone. Does everything run smoothly, perfectly now? Or are there still idiosyncrasies that need to be played with over time? Nady?
I would say it's running much smoother, but I think it's fun to have a bit of adventure thrown in here and there. But I'm a lot more organized. I have a better scope. A lot of the time my tradies are repeat tradies. They know what's going on. And we can troubleshoot on the go.
How long did it take before you got a clue about how it should happen?
Probably about 2 or 3 renovations in. I'm a quick learner, so one thing I do after each project is I go back to the team and say, what could we have done properly? What could we improve on? And they come back and we are comfortable enough that they can give proper feedback. And I try to make their life easy, and that in turn makes my life easy.
The flexibility, I think, is a very big one. That also, if you're not flexible in a situation, stress is a big one in this, and you can come under pressure to make the wrong decisions. But to correct that and remove the fear is due diligence. Due diligence brings the planning. Planning, you'll have an answer if you come up to a problem because you've already gone through it and follow your plan. And then you've got the team around you to support.
So how long did it take for you from your first, how many projects did you get through before you started to have a plan that you could rely on?
I'm still reviewing it, even now. Many years down the track, reviewing it now only because from my side of things, construction's fine, planning's fine, budgets are fine. Now I'm working on me. Communication, how I respond, my reaction times, how I can be polite, respectful, mature. I thought I learned that stuff, but you're continually growing when you're working. People are different, trades, generations coming through now are different. You've just got to adapt.
Property is a people's game. If you think and take on the idea that you're an island, then there's a risk. Our encouragement is reach out. By doing so, you open the door to letting people into your lives who will ultimately help you. You start to build a team around you, a team that's loyal, a team that you can trust, and a team that you can lean on in order to support the execution of effective reno projects. Up next, we get real with Adam.